Hey, this is another TvP in the Masters League between Nebish and Gukaga Pusa Ajikago. Maybe he's a CPA and he says, good game, Sujiko. Suja. What's Suja? I don't know. Anyway, Nick does the 1-1-1, and I like watching these 1-1-1 games because I'm considering, you know, maybe someday if I ever have problems winning with the 201 or the 202 or the 402, I would like to try the 1-1-1. It seems like everyone's bitching about it, so it must be powerful, right? So yeah, I'm just gonna watch his build, the way he builds, because he's a builder of buildings. So the goal of this first scouting SCV is to check whether the Protoss has 1 gas or 2, and whether his Nexus energy is high or low. The idea being that if he has 2 gas, he's teching to something ridiculous, and if he has high Nexus energy, then he's going to be chrono boosting either troops or some sort of tech like Void Ray or Immortal Push, or a 4-gate, or you know, gateway thing. So he has the high Nexus energy, so that means he could be doing something aggressive, but he only has 1 gas, so that means it's either a 4-gate or an expand. I don't know. I don't know that any of these things that I say are true, but that's what it says on the cheat sheet. So now Nick's gonna go back with a 4.5 minute. No, not even close. This Hellion seems to be quite late. Am I missing something? Whatever. He's gonna go back with a Hellion, check out if the Nexus has started yet, and if the Nexus hasn't started yet, then it isn't a super early fast expand. Haha. Then he's gonna look whether he can see a bunch of what are they called? Sentries. If he sees a bunch of sentries, it's an expanding defending kind of build, and if he sees a bunch of zealot stalker type units like this, then it's more of a you know, beefy kind of build with more beef. Like, where's the beef? But he also saw the probe on the low ground, so he knows the Nexus is starting around 6 minutes, which means that the attack timing, perfect attack timing for Terran is always 3 minutes after the Nexus. So for Nick in this game, it's going to be 9 minutes. And that's one of the things I love about this 1-1-1 that Nick is doing, is that you don't spend any money on upgrades. So at every second of the game, you have constantly the biggest army that you could possibly have. Nick seems to think DTs, because he got both a Raven and an Engineering Bay that he's not getting upgrades from. So he really, and a turret, so he really seems to be thinking about DTs. Which is weird, because I didn't see the double gas, right? I read in the Warden thing that low Nexus energy, because if you're going DTs, you can't chrono boost anything that makes the DTs happen, so you don't need to save Nexus energy for it. So you tend to have low Nexus energy and 2 gas. Anyway. So Nick didn't see anything that would trigger a DT response, but whatever. So yeah, like I was saying, this build lets him be strong at every moment of the game, so if he chooses to go at 9 minutes because his opponent got a Nexus at 6 minutes, then he can go at 9 minutes, or he can go at 10, or 11, or 8, or whatever. So he's going to push out with 1 Raven and 1 Banshee and some SCVs, but not a lot, 1 Hellion and a bunch of Marines. He left this bunker up and he left some Marines in it, which I think is weird. He also built this command center before or during the push, which I also think is kind of weird. It just basically means he's got a lot of money that didn't turn into troops. I feel like at 10 minutes, 3,500 is the benchmark, and he's pretty far below that, right? He's 2, 3, he's at 3,400, huh? 34, he's $100 below the benchmark, guys. $100 freaking dollars. It's crazy. I'm being sarcastic now. He has a very big army and he's doing great. But it seems like he could have had $800 bigger of an army, because he had 400 wasted on that CC, 100 wasted on the bunker, and 600 in the bank, so I don't know, baby, I don't know. Spreading out these SCVs to try to eat Zealot. Basically, the goal of these SCVs is to stand between the Zealots and the Marines, so that the Zealots can't get on the Marines. This PDD up here, obviously being able to pre-plant the PDD like way in advance is super sexy. No medevacs to heal the SCVs, so they can auto-repair themselves, but it's not going awesome. exceptionally well. The Protoss's army is tiny, ridiculously small. He went for a very heavy tech build. Charge is crazy expensive, and he spent a bunch of money on these gateways, and he had a bunch of money in the bank that he just totally didn't spend at all. Very bad. I really dislike the Toss's build. Because, I mean, 1-1-1 is pretty common nowadays, so to not be prepared for a 10-minute push is just ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. So now Nick's down to 4 SCVs and some siege tanks and some marines. Because he was never even close to in range of the Nexus, the Protoss, he lost that first engagement, but only by a little bit, and he's not really at risk of losing anything crucial. So now he gets to just go back over here and try to catch up on his army spending. Once that cash in the bank goes down, he's going to, use some Chrono Boost and try to get it to a reasonable value. If he can not fight until he's spent this cash, he'll be in really good shape. But even though he doesn't manage to do the absolutely utterly awesome thing called spending your money, he's still $900 behind Nick on army spending, and he's still able to, kill these tanks. Die tanks. Die final tank. Oh my goodness. Oh my goose. I mean, I don't think you should have even tried to kill the final tank, but if you're gonna get that close, one more shot. Oh my god, one more shot. Now Nick's finally able to do real damage, and the Protoss with 6 gates, he's still on 6 gate. Like, why did you only make 6 gateways, and why didn't you make them much sooner? What the heck? So now he's going to pull some probes and has some more charge lots, and I feel like Nick's attack with unupgraded marines and siege tanks and banshees against charge lots is not going to go crazy well. So now the spending is finally even between the two players. Nick's still $1,000 ahead, $1,200 ahead on damage done, but he's down to basically 2 banshees. That's his whole army. So you need 3 stalkers and you win. Come on, baby. Wow. This was close to being reasonable. I mean, the Protoss, if he'd actually spent all his money, would easily have held off this attack. This is I mean, I hate looking at a game where Nick came out way ahead in a fight and saying, see, if the Protoss didn't suck, you wouldn't have come out way ahead in this fight. Because, I mean, this Protoss is in Masters League. And Nick did come out way ahead. So it's kind of a cop-out to say, well, see, if theoretically something different had happened, then you wouldn't have come out way ahead, because that's just being a douche. But that's how I feel watching these games, man. I'm just so afraid to try the 1-1-1. I'm a chicken. Now the Protoss is going to make a huge mistake and actually try to counter after that. That was... I mean, he's pretty significantly behind on income, but he's got charge tech. And so he could just like camp out here with charge lots in a big sexy arc with Guardian Shield ready to go off, and like, and that's another thing that was missing during all of those engagements was Guardian Shield. He's got all this gas that he can't spend on anything reasonable because he's not stuck on gateway tech. So sentries are pretty crucial. And now he takes an army that's vastly bigger than Nick's army, not vastly bigger, a little bit bigger than Nick's army, and instead of fighting with it, he just kind of walks around and loses units for no real reason. He's up 100, he's up 1,000, he's up 1,200. $1,200 bigger army. Knocks down the bunker and says, okay, I am within range of these siege tanks, but I'm not going to attack them. I'm going to walk over here. Also, to not have a Robo-Bay when you've seen this many Banshees, that's pretty gutsy. He's like, I don't think Nick's going to get Cloak. In fact, Nick should have gotten Cloak. To see charge lot tech with no observer, yeah, no cannons, no observer, charge lots, Cloak. But whatever, I mean, Nick was going to win whether he got Cloak or not. So now Mr. Protoss threw away a whole crap ton of units and he's completely doomed, and that's the end of the game. So thanks, Nick, for sending me more games to look at of this 1-1-1 build. I kind of, you know, I feel like it's not as strong as the build that I do, but it's a very strong build. And if I wasn't already winning all my games, I would try this build next, because this is cool. To constantly have a really large army that you can always use without needing any upgrades, because upgrades are the big, like, you can't attack for 3 minutes. They're the things that make it so that you have to attack at certain times. And if you just don't use any upgrades, you're like, bam, I'm way ahead all the time. How's it going? What I really hate about it, though, is the siege tanks. Like, $275 siege tanks, they need to kill 2 3/4 zealots to pay for themselves. The idea that siege tanks will kill even 1 zealot is laughable. They're great against sentries, because it only takes like 2 shots to kill a sentry, and sentries cost $150. So you kill 2 sentries and you paid for yourself. But against someone like this who just isn't making sentries, siege tanks are crap. I feel like this guy got blank. He's like, I have a Twilight Council and no other tech. I guess I should get blank? Man, this guy is just making me laugh. What's his name? That's why I don't remember his name, is because it's Gukagupasajiko. Gukagupasajiko. Now he's finally working his way towards Colossus, which is a reasonable tech. I am reasonable. I think Psystorm is the best idea, but Colossus are good too, because when you already have this, to not go Psystorm is just kind of weird. Twilight Council is what it's called. And now our Nebish shall end the game. Mr. Chargelot tech should have provoked some Blue Flame Hellions, I think. I feel in my bones that Nick should have made some Blue Flame Hellions. So the siege tanks are not being targeted, they're just shooting whatever they want. The Marines are trying to run around, try to let the Marauders tank the Zealots, which is good. Utterly crushes everything. His army is just so much bigger that of course it's going to crush everything almost regardless of composition at this point. And then the guy who made a million mistakes, including having $1,400 in the bank when Nick attacked him, is like, it's because you're Terran. Like, you would have lost to a Zerg or a Protoss if you'd done that too. Man, everybody whines, I tell ya.